When I first met Prabhupada in November 71, right after that I became vegetarian, but I still ate eggs. So when I saw Prabhupada, I said to him very proudly, "Oh, I'm vegetarian now, after I met you." And he said, so are the pigeons and the monkeys who are big rascals. So I became very humble at that moment. Another time, Prabhupada was coming down the steps of Henry Street Temple. And Henry Street was a very narrow street, and my car was surrounded by devotees. And I was sitting in the driver's seat. And I was thinking, well, I better offer obeisances to Prabhupada, because at one time I didn't and I got in trouble. I'll tell that story in a moment. So I was thinking, well, I better offer obeisances to Prabhupada, but how can I do it? I can't open the door. There's not enough room. What am I going to do? And I'm just debating mentally on this, and Prabhupada's getting closer to the car. I said, well, I'll offer on the seat. Then somebody's opening the door. Well, I'll offer it, and I started crunching behind the steering wheel, trying to offer obeisances. And Prabhupada gets in the car, looks at me, pats me on the head, and goes, "That's okay." Then another time, I was in New York, in the hallway between Henry Street, between Prabhupada's quarters and the temple room. It's a very narrow hallway, and it was lined with devotees, and Prabhupada was walking. And I don't remember the year, but maybe it was 73. And I was embarrassed. I said, boy, people join, they're initiated in 6 months. I'm not even initiated yet. Though I think I was chanting 16 rounds in, but not even initiated yet. And I don't render any service. I was in graduate school. I was very, very embarrassed. I didn't want even Prabhupada to see me. So what I did is when the Prabhupada stepped out of his room, devotees offer obeisances, I hit the dirt immediately. And I said the prayers as slow as I could. So by the time I stood up, Prabhupada would have walked by. Usually devotees say the prayers real quick and stand up so they can see Prabhupada. But I said it real slow. But Prabhupada stopped in front of me. I didn't even know he saw me, and waited till I was done, and I was slow. And then I stood up, and there was Prabhupada right next to me. And he says, he said, "Nice to see you," and put his arm around me and gave me a hug. And I was amazed. After I met Prabhupada in Mayapur, then I saw him again in Calcutta a few weeks later. I had to go back to Bihar, and then I went back to Calcutta, and I saw Prabhupada and said, "Do you have any questions?" So I said, well, Prabhupada, devotees are telling me to offer my food to Krishna, because everyone was preaching to me whenever I was with the devotees. I was the only Westerner there who wasn't a devotee. So boy, did I get preached to. So you must offer your food to Krishna. So I said to Prabhupada, well, I can't offer my food to Krishna because I don't know that Krishna's God. I think about it now. Well, I don't think it's the most brilliant question. But anyway, I had said that to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada's response was, oh, that's okay. But then you thank God for the food. And I blurted out, oh, I should thank God silently. I don't know what made me say it. Super Soul kicked me and made me blurt it out. And then Prabhupada said, no, you should out loud thank God for the food so you can explain to everyone what you're doing. So that tiny bit of faith I had that there's God and that we can at least thank God for the food, Prabhupada wanted me to use that tiny bit of realization I had to become a preacher and preach. And so I was amazed by how Prabhupada could deal practically with everything. When Atreya Rishi came in and Prabhupada was so sick, he used his sickness to convince Atreya Rishi that he's not, that the body and the soul are different. So Prabhupada was very practical and very compassionate. He knew just when I needed a little encouragement, a pat on the head, and just when I needed a chastisement, which may be just through a stare. So practical, compassionate, totally philosophical, and detached. He wanted us to be Krishna conscious, but for our benefit. And I always had the impression whoever Prabhupada was speaking to, he was speaking to them for their benefit, not his benefit. Because myself, I'm preaching, I might be thinking, how many points am I going to get? Am I going to do this? My benefit. When Prabhupada was speaking to you, you knew he was speaking to you for your benefit. And everyone in the room knew that.